Greetings and salutations, fellow computer-generated, four-armed monstrosities. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy. This is the Two Nerds Podcast, and before we get into today's luscious, jubilant, eponymous topic, if you push the buttons that you see, the links in the description of this video, it'll take you to magical worlds where you can buy a book I wrote, or up to 5 books I wrote. The most recent one is the gooderest one, I feel.
I feel the third one is the gooderest one.
But requires the context of the previous two, sadly.
It does, yes.
You can just kind of start off on the 5th one. You can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/probably White Raven.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Sometimes it's Minister Whitey.
Sometimes.
I never remember. I stream there at least every Tuesday and Thursday. And then the Patreon, where you can give me money.
Like Rob.
Like Rob. Rob is just a saint of a man. And I'll shout you out.
Like Rob.
Sometimes I forget, especially when we record multiple episodes in a day, but today is not one of those days. Today, we are talking about an effort in procrastination where we literally waited until the last possible day to watch Mortal Kombat.
And it's not because either of us was dreading it. We were both actually looking forward to this movie. But you ever get into a situation where because you need to do a thing for a project, it immediately becomes the least appetizing thing to do in the history of time?
I don't know about you either, my dear friend Truck, but
You're not gonna get that.
No, I'm just getting it over, that's all. But sometimes I just get burnt out on watching movies. I used to be, and I say this with all the derision that it deserves, quite the cinephile. I used to watch movies all the time. Like, literally, that's what I watched. I have a hard time anymore. And when I do watch something, it ends up being like a series that I digest in little chunks. Which, as you well know, listeners of the podcast, Ultimo Dragon, by watching our podcasts, many series are covered on this podcast. But it can sometimes be hard for me these days to just sit down and watch a movie, and I've been trying to get back in the thrust of it, and I think I've been doing a really good job this year compared to previous years in terms of, raw numbers.
I'm not.
But we are in the middle of a Marvel movie rewatch, and our next one is Infinity War, so we're coming around the bend.
Well, we want to try and finish them all before Black Widow.
But I'm a little fatigued from rewatching movies, which is another thing I don't do like I used to do. There is exceptions to this, and those are the Ninja Turtles movies, which are evergreen. But I've enjoyed this rewatching, don't get me wrong, but a certain amount of fatigue has set in. So when it's like time to watch a movie, my body goes, I'm so tired.
Just you, Mr. Incredible. I'm not strong enough.
But we managed to find the time, make the time, set the time aside, look at the time, and say, hey, it's time. And then we watch Mortal Kombat as done in this year.
If you say so.
Well, Wikipedia says. Let me just...
It's
2021 film.
That's nice.
What do you know?
This, I love. Just spoiler free review. This is great. I fucking love this. This is a great movie. I had such a good time. It's dumb as shit.
Yeah. My high end isn't as high as yours, for a couple of reasons. I have... Well, okay, I guess, like, really specifically for you, you've never played a modern Mortal Kombat story mode.
No, I don't give a shit about them.
So you, the only Mortal Kombat stories you know are possibly the terrible cartoon.
No.
And the 90s movies.
Yes.
So for you...
It's great. It's a true sequel, perfect example of the art form of a Mortal Kombat movie. dumb as all fuck and buck wild, and that's exactly what I wanted.
And it's exactly what I expected. But like, it's one of those things where I have a hard time. If this wasn't a Mortal Kombat movie, if this was like, you know, Shaolin Ninjas Attack, no, a better name, I don't know.
If this was different enough that also someone wouldn't point it and go, oh, that's Mortal Kombat, you're doing a copyright infringement.
If this were original property in any way, I would be a lot more lenient with it. And it's just because I know, you know, what they've been able to do in the video games.
It's because you really like the modern Mortal Kombat game story modes.
That too. I mean, look, there weren't previous Mortal Kombat story modes. There were, pick your guy, go through the tower, idiot.
Sometimes there was like a cutscene. Or like
they were like endings, yeah.
Animatic.
Sure. But like, these characters have characterizations. And I'm not like, you know, this is me, guys. You've heard me before. Why are you adapting something if you're not going to change it? In that sense, I feel like they did good things. But I can't have quite your enthusiasm with the quality of this picture, which I thought was fun. I spent 2 hours, roughly, having a good time, enjoying myself, going, oh, that's an interesting thing to do. Oh, well, okay.
Whereas I don't have the modern games, and they're apparently fucking astoundingly good story modes.
I mean, they're fine.
This movie's great. It's dumb as shit, and I love it. Please note, every part of that sentence is a compliment. Not everything's gotta be fucking intelligent. Not everything needs to be high art.
No, I agree. And I feel like they did... For me, it doesn't feel that long ago that there was a Mortal Kombat movie, and I like the one they did recently. That is to say, the games.
Yeah.
I think that's a large part of it, too. But let's go ahead and talk about this more granularly. Let's move away from the spoiler-free section. Once it comes back on HBO Max, give it a watch. Or if you prefer to buy it on DVD, if you like Mortal Kombat, or you like gore, or you like fighting, or ninjas, give it a watch. It's neat.
Or amazing protagonist characters from nowhere.
It's neat.
Yes, it is genuinely like a fine film.
Yeah, it's a good action film.
If you liked the 90s Mortal Kombat movie, and like me, you haven't seen a Mortal Kombat story thing in any real depth since then, I'm going to say, definitely fucking watch this. You'll have a grand old time.
That being said, like, reviews of this film are very mixed, and by which I mean a lot of people really loved it, and a lot of people really didn't.
I would posit that the people who didn't like this movie are the same kind of people who didn't like the Zombies match at the recent WWE pay-per-view. That is to say, funless douchebags.
I think it's more that they like the characters even more than me and have a problem with adaptation, is mostly what I've seen. Why is Raiden like this? Why is there an OC instead of any of the thousands of Mortal Kombat characters?
Oh, that's such a good call. I will barrack for that call. Beyond, all right. No, let's dive into the weeds here. The main character of this movie is, I've been calling him Protagonist Johnson. For the record, his name, I'm not waiting for White to scroll, is Cole Young. You don't need to know that fact. So, he is an original character. He is a character made for the purposes of this movie. And beyond my own somewhat fondness for original, unconnected character who's just like one of us, gets tossed into fantastical scenario, I read a lot of really bad fan fiction that I love. I'm not going to lie to you, listener. Beyond that, beyond my personal fondness for that particular trope, all right? That's a really good call. I will say, like, that is a better call than using any established Mortal Kombat character as the point of view character for this movie. Because the point of view character for this movie is, this movie's approaching it like you don't know what the fuck Mortal Kombat is. At all. Like, they do some shit that if they were approaching it like you knew what Mortal Kombat was, they would not explain it. They would not have Scorpion literally go, I'm Scorpion now. There are also really fun Easter eggs for people who do know Mortal Kombat, but the movie is structured in such a way so as to welcome newcomers. So you need the fish out of water. You need the person who doesn't fucking know from anything about Mortal Kombat, so that you can explain shit to him. That is gonna feel worse if it's an established Mortal Kombat character. I maintain that Cole Young is an excellent thing to put in the story there, because it allows you to have that character you're explaining things to without having to make one of the many beloved characters that already exist in Mortal Kombat that these people stand super hard into the dumbass who doesn't know anything.
It's a choice. I don't think you had to make that choice. We live in a world where Guardians of the Galaxy is a thing.
Oh yeah, I would say you didn't have to make that choice.
It is a choice, and I feel like the character is likable, and I think that's the biggest.
He's just a Mortal Kombat character. Like, he's
Sure,
just
yeah,
a regular-ass Mortal Kombat character.
And you can have people who would argue that, well, you could have put Johnny Cage in that role because he's very much an everyman who kind of gets into things. But I agree with the director, I believe it was the director, who said that Johnny Cage would have been cool for the movie, but his personality is so big that it eclipses a lot of other things.
Yeah, you don't want someone who... You want like a protagonist. You want a shonen protagonist here. You want someone who has a personality, but not a really overbearing one. That's one of the reasons I like him in this role, because it allows all of the other actual Mortal Kombat characters to have a lot more scenery to chew. They have a lot more character. They have a lot more freedom to be who they are in the games, as far as I'm aware, because Cole Young exists there to be the audience surrogate. And he is just a regular Mortal Kombat character. If someone looked at me and went, no, he was in Mortal Kombat Flim. Sure, okay, I would believe them. I mean, that sounds like a fake name.
I had to look it up.
He's the descendant of the final descendant of Scorpion, and his family, of the one surviving kid that wasn't double murdered by SubZero.
That was another thing that kind of didn't do this movie a favor, was the fact that it opened so strongly. With SubZero and the Lin Kuei, with Bihan specifically, for those of you who are Mortal Kombat fans, attacking Scorpion's family and killing them.
And Scorpion also.
And Scorpion. Because it was really good. And it was like some hardcore ninja samurai shit. Like, it was like, oh, okay, you guys really took this seriously. And then they just immediately were like, oh, no, I'm sorry. That was just the intro.
Whereas for me...
I mean, thank you, but that's gone now.
I recognize that was really good, but I actually was happy when the changeover occurred.
I liked the changeover, too. I just feel like I got set up for something. I was expecting Ninja Assassin for the rest of the movie, and we did indeed get the 90s Mortal Kombat film. Like, a better version. But it wasn't Ninja Assassin.
No, and like when I saw that was, I had the same reaction you did. I was like, oh wow, they took this really seriously. Oh no, did they take this too seriously? And then the movie looked at me and went, no, it's fine, we're good. And then I went, oh good.
Oh good, Kano's here, and he's a shitbag.
Oh right. Good, Kano's here, and he's the shittiest shitbag to ever shit, and I love him. He's my trash fire friend.
It's also kind of amazing with as good as like the insults and natural as a lot of the dialogue is, and as likable, I must say again, as the brand new original character protagonist is. This is partially down to Louis Tan's acting.
Yeah, he does a fucking great job.
He's so likable.
He's very likable. He's just a regular guy who is in a fucking weird situation, and he's rolling with it, but he is aware it's weird.
A lot of the dialogue is just bad.
Yeah, it's just terrible. I love it.
God awful.
Just like bad. I'm Scorpion now. That was played like a big emotional moment. He just says, I am Scorpion now. I'm sure it's much cooler in Japanese.
Even if it was. Okay, you and I were talking very briefly after it, and I wanted to save this for the podcast. I'm not drunk. I just woke up. I accidentally took a super nap. It was cold in here because we just put the air conditioning in. I laid down on the couch. I covered myself up with a little blankie, and my brain went, engage hibernation mode. I was not able to wake up for more than like 4 seconds at a time until my robot friend came downstairs and went, "Hey buddy, wake up." And I was like, "Yes, freedom!" Like Rita Repulsa out that moon tube. Anyway, we were talking about that line and that changeover. I mean, SubZero has an equally stupid line, just not as played as dramatically.
I am no longer Bihan. I am SubZero now. Thanks, bruh. Good of you to keep us abreast of the situation.
They could have done that so well.
I'm fucking so happy about how dumb that line was.
Scorpion could have received Bihan as a friend in the beginning. And he could have told him that ancient tale I love so much of the frog and the scorpion. Or vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, look. They could have done literally anything to set up that.
Anything to set it up. Like, it's that easy that I thought of it like that. Like, or, you know, maybe instead of, and this is coming from me, someone who appreciates people taking their own name. Instead of Bihan being like, "I am not Bihan, assassin of the Lin Kuei. Call me SubZero. That sounds fucking cool."
Because it does.
Maybe Shang Tsung gives him a code name. Maybe Shang Tsung says, "You are no longer Scorpion. You are no longer Bihan. That life is behind you. You are mine now." Sure, that's a great, but otherwise this is a hundreds years old man going, "You know what? Call me XX Sephiroth XX 420.
Like, look, there's gotta be. They have to call him SubZero. His name is SubZero.
Right,
it's Mortal Kombat.
that's fine. I accept
but
that.
Like, honestly, you should not have had him say it. Just literally have someone call it. They just start calling him SubZero when he starts dressing as SubZero, and you don't address it.
Sure, or you know, like.
But that is actually the other half of assuming that the people watching the movie don't know fuck all about Mortal Kombat. Who is this guy? Is there another Ice guy? Oh no, it's the same Ice guy. He just changed his name to SubZero.
I don't think audiences are that stupid. I don't.
Really?
I don't. And you know what? I think if they're watching the movie and that's confusing for them, I don't think their opinion counts. Because it's a wonder they've managed to fight through the peanut butter in front of them to turn on their magic movie machine.
Oh, but like,
because the lines are delivered with all of the prowess of.
I fucking love them.
"I am Scorpion now. You know, from Mortal Kombat, popular video game. On sale today at Best Buy."
God, you know what? You're saying that like that's a bad thing. If they had literally done that shit, it would have been so much better.
I would have accepted it more. I don't know that it would have been better, but I would have gone, okay.
Like they just stop like a Wayne's World skit.
Yeah.
Oh, no, alright. Jokes, memes aside, the movie is just it's very simple by the numbers plot. It doesn't even really bear talking about. The one big thing that is new to Mortal Kombat, or I guess, or not something I've seen before, is specifically talking about how all the Mortal Kombat characters have fucking magic powers and where they get them, and establishing like an in-universe lore reason that Kano shoots lasers out of his face and Liu Kang has fireballs.
I mean, it's something they've kind of like looked at a little more in recent years, but it's not new. It's just not something we ever talk about.
It's not something that had a name before now.
It's not anything where... I feel like there's a lot of maybe like My Hero Academia inspiration in this film, and that's not a bad thing because it's a good anime, but like I'm getting that vibe. Because for whatever reason, everybody got to have their quirk, and then the main character is Deku.
No.
His power's getting shit beat out of him.
That's not Deku's power.
Well, no, he just gets the shit beat out of him until he uses power.
He's a moron who doesn't know how to use a brain.
That's right.
The main character is a Saiyan, and I'll thank you to respect that shit.
You're absolutely right.
Or alternatively, Black Panther, because he has the same power with a different palette.
It just doesn't explode afterward. I was really thinking it was going to explode.
Nah, but he like internalizes that power and uses it to make weapons and shit.
Sure. I think really what's going on there is, I think the through line they were trying to do is, because he starts out as an MMA fighter.
who like gets the shit beat out of him.
Right, but like
that's his shtick.
Everyone's always talking about like, oh, you almost had him kind of thing, and then like he gets his power later, where he gets his super armor that lets him absorb the blows, and it gives him the opportunities to actually win the fight. The joke being, he did almost have them. It's just that his bones stopped working.
So now we've given him magic super armor that absorbs power, that like makes punches make him stronger.
It was also kind of a weird call to be like, I didn't think Kano was going to have an eye laser, because that comes from his robot face.
And they said, yes, that's true, but what if instead his eye laser was magic? Was just the thing that his superpower. And let's be clear, it's not like they're like, well, no, it's not, there's no robot stuff. Because Jax's superpower is his shitty robot arms become really cool robot arms.
I figured Kano was going to get his rolling up into a ball and bouncing around the place like a cannonball powers.
That would have been cool, too.
Yeah.
But, like, the eye laser's much more iconic.
It was fine, and it worked. Like, it just... Okay. I will say one of the big changes I liked was how they were able to use Liu Kang since he wasn't the protagonist. Also, Kung Lao got to be Kung Lao.
Yeah. Descendant of the great Kung Lao.
Yeah. He worked really well.
He was cool. Shame.
I mean, I appreciated Shang Tsung going, no one's really dead. I'll fucking bring back whoever I want. Bye.
Yeah, I like that they immediately, like, early on in, presumably, you know, what was intended to be in more than one movie, establish, in the first movie, none of these people are going to fucking stay dead. I need you to make your peace with that now.
This was originally signed to be a 3-picture deal, depending on how well this movie did. Now, it made, it's gone up in the last couple days. $79 million over 55 budget.
Which isn't great.
It's not fantastic, but it might be enough for them to...
Especially with, like, you know, limited theater distribution and taking streaming into account and all that stuff. I hope it does well enough to get a sequel, because I desperately want to see the fucking sequel to this movie.
I think they're treating it well enough that I want to see where they go with it. And I think their casting is so good. Because, like, while Kano came across a little hokey, it wasn't enough that I didn't believe him. I believed that was Kano.
Yeah, he's just... part Kano, part, like, just a fucking Drongo.
Yeah.
Just an Australian guy who is a shit. Part Kano, part Captain Boomerang from Suicide Squad.
Part Kano, part this guy comes from the Gold Coast, and you can tell.
Yeah.
Sonya, fantastic casting.
Yeah, I loved the casting for Sonya.
Jax was okay.
Jax was...
I feel like
what he had to do in the movie, he did well.
I feel like there are enough actors you could reach into a barrel and pluck out a Jax that maybe they could have done better. But, budgets. Fine. Cole Young's family, also good. Raiden was a little rough around the edges.
I kind of like that they went mostly for actors I don't fucking know from dick all.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I like that they didn't go for someone bigger for Jax.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's fine. Kung Lao was good. Liu Kang was good. I thought he was too skinny at first because he looks like he belongs in a fucking K-pop band. But then he took off his shirt and I got scared.
Yeah, because... well, put your shirt back on, Magic Mike. Like, he looks skinny because he's
he's wiry. He's got the Bruce Lee thing
Bruce
going.
Lee.
Yeah.
Like, the dude... Speaking of, fucking kudos to the guy who was playing Liu Kang, because... to get a physique that reminiscent of Bruce Lee, you have to do a very specific, I'm going to guess very difficult workout and diet regimen for a while. Because he fucking looked like Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm. The only actor I was a little about was Melina.
I feel like that's just because she wasn't doing like the exact version of Melina you prefer.
She just maybe they just didn't give her enough to work with.
Maybe the only one I was a little mad about was actually Shang Tsung.
I kind of liked him.
I think he's the only one for whom the '90s version I personally prefer greatly.
Well, and like, I'm going to get into this on the podcast because I do not mean it politically. I don't. If you have played a Mortal Kombat game, Raiden is an old white guy. And I don't mind that they cast an Asian actor. It's fine, but like...
Probably a good call, to be honest.
Well, sure. I mean, like, you know, if he's supposed to be an Eastern god of thunder and lightning, then, yeah, perfect. Good. That's fine. And I think the actor did a pretty good job. He's playing a slightly different version of Raiden, but he still has that wry sort of, I'm not going to help you.
He's much
I'm
more...
totally helping
He's
you.
much more of a dad.
Yeah, like a mean dad,
Like
but not like a dad that doesn't love you. Just kind of a like he's got
high expectations.
Works 12 hours a day, high expectations. He's just not got a lot of patience. Maybe he does though. Maybe he's just not. Very good
maybe he's a good guy, but he doesn't. I'm sorry, he's not as good.
He was just so hard. I believed that character. I had a hard time believing that as Raiden, and I say this with unique. Innovative casting for other characters like Melina. She was fine. I didn't like her voice, her character.
I would have liked it to be throatier.
Yeah, I would have liked it to be
more Tarkatan.
And there was a weird filter that sometimes they put on people. I thought maybe it meant they were talking telepathically, but then later they did it and it wasn't. Oh, it wasn't even Melina. I'm just fucking lying. Cabal.
I can understand why you don't.
His
like
voice actor was a little weird. There were times where I loved him. There were times where it sounded like he was phoning it in. Compared to the rest of the cast, now if the rest of the cast had been that level, I wouldn't have fucking noticed.
I don't know that I agree, but I can see where you're coming from.
And that's fair. But anyway, like overall, it was fine. And I like this Raiden. That's not what I would have done. I've seen the Raiden in the games.
I would have gone with Connor McLeod. He's still alive. Fuck it.
I don't think.
No, I don't think he wants to do that.
I don't think he can. But I don't know. It's not. I'm not against it. It's fine. It just took me out of it a little bit. It was like we had a second Lightning Kung Lao.
They were very different characters.
No, they were. But I mean, like the visual figure and everything. Like that's almost entirely what I'm talking about.
Like, it's that he wasn't in the Raiden outfit?
No, he had a Raiden-esque outfit. Raiden's had a lot of outfits. He just didn't cut the same. He was a smaller guy with a rounder head, weedier. He didn't, have the presence the
same. He had dad bod.
Yeah, a little. Not like the fat dad bod, but like...
Like, he looks like an older gentleman, not like a big fucking dude.
And he didn't even look
lightning.
that old.
No, like middle-aged.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, my age.
No, little older than you, bud.
Let's find out how old the actor is. What was his name?
50, I'm going to guess.
Tadanobu Asano, which he did a great job. Great job. Look at that face. What a good guy. 47. Holy shit.
Yeah, told you.
Wow. Handsome fella.
Well, I'm not just going to stare at Tadanobu's.
I was looking at his acting credits.
But this was... Like, there are definitely things to criticize about this. Some of the dialogue... Look, a lot of the dialogue is bad in an amazingly fun, cheesy way. Some of it is just really terrible.
Yeah.
And, like, I had fun with it, but I recognized that it wasn't good. Some of the fight scenes were almost all great.
Yes, a lot of the fight choreography was really fantastic. They took time to, like, make sure that you knew why other characters weren't helping.
That's something that doesn't happen a lot in some like lesser big fight movies.
And it's the kind of thing that I often say of people who are bitching about it because there wouldn't be a movie otherwise. Maybe they were doing something else. Can you not have an ounce of imagination to wonder, I guess he was caught up with something.
In this movie, they go out of their way to show you, they are caught up. This is what they're doing. This is why they're not helping.
And I thought that was really cool. It's a touch you don't have to do that they did. It is baffling to me that the dialogue is so bad in so much of the movie when the rest of it is so solid. Solid to good, yeah.
Like Kano, one of the reasons I love Kano is because all his dialogue is fucking magic. Like every word that comes out of Kano's mouth is incredibly believable and either really like serves the story or is fucking hilarious, usually both. And it's so realistic. That is how that guy would talk.
And just a mile a minute, never shutting up.
Never shutting up, with little tiny asides in the background, just perfect. A lot of Cole's dialogue is serviceable.
His face acting,
He does really good.
He every time there's something for him to react to, he has the most reasonable and understandable reaction to it.
Where you literally, I think out loud 3 times in the movie, 3 separate times, one or the other of us went, "That's how you would react to that."
What a reasonable reaction.
Like, understandable and not overacted. And, like, all the main characters really have that. Jax, you're right, but Jax has, like, the least material to work with of the main cast. Really.
Yeah, I mean, he's, like, fine when I think, again, with Jax, he doesn't visually read Jax. His head's not square enough.
You got some weird fucking head shape preferences, my dude.
Man. We need more square-headed motherfuckers in this movie.
Raiden, 2 round. Jax, 2 round. Round boys bad. Need squares.
I also think Jax should have been more ripped, although admittedly, when he got the arms, he looked fine. Except for his weird round head. The man has a fine head. A regular head for a human. I'm just used to seeing the people in the games. Where Jax is this lantern-jawed motherfucker.
See, this is what the people who got mad about Ahsoka's head shit sound like.
Look, I had to fill a 30-minute fucking podcast in a Mortal Kombat movie. You want to know? You want to know the real version of this podcast? Here you are, guys. It's fucking okay. Let's get hardcore. And then I'm like, hey, turn this podcast, shill. Please give me money. Blah blah blah. I like this movie. It was pretty fun. 2 hours spent really well. Acting was really good. Dialogue was really bad. Fight scenes were really fun. CGI was mostly not great.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That is a fair cop. The CGI in this movie was... Sometimes it got a little rough.
Samurai parts were good. Ninja parts, rather. Surprised by original character Do Not Steal.
I fucking... I love him.
CGI Goro made me sad, but he was pretty good.
CGI Goro made you sad? I thought he was a real big fun monster.
Animatronic Goro was really cool.
I mean, yeah, but like it's 2021.
But at the same time, like there were a couple times when people's outfits were like, stopped being like, wow, that's a guy in armor, and more, wow, that's a guy in a cosplay that really looks like armor.
Yeah, like, there's this scene right at the end when Bihan, SubZero, has had the shit just absolutely kicked out of him. And his armor's all crumpled up and shitty, and he tears it off to reveal, like, a black undersuit. Really nice. There's quality foreshadowing there. But right before he does that...
It, like, flaps off of him.
It fucking looks like it's made of plastic.
Which I'm sure it is made of foam. It's, you know. But,
like, it looks like it. And that's bad.
No. And there's a similar thing that happens to Cabal. He looks up at the very end of his presence in the movie. And it's like, hello, flap of foam.
Fine. It looks a little hokey. Like, not bad hokey, just like, okay, I can tell that's a costume.
Sure.
They didn't really splash out on the Cabal outfit. I can totally understand that.
Sure.
But then he looks up, and you go, there's like an audible wah-wah horn. Having said all that, I fucking loved this movie.
And I would like to note that took about a minute. So, I'm padding for time. You can cast a fat black woman as Raiden for all I care. I'm here for it. Interesting choice. But let's roll with it.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him. Yeah, everything's better when nerds talk about it.